A sudden beam of light appeared in the classroom. The protagonist knew it was a magic circle for teleportation to another world, so he quickly escaped to the ceiling, just to avoid suffering in another world. But unexpectedly, even though he fled to the ceiling, he was still teleported to the realm of the gods. The god was stunned when he saw him. After all, others had already chosen their professions and set off. Then, the god hurriedly opened the profession panel for the protagonist to choose, but because he was the last to arrive, all the powerful skills and professions had already been taken. Only some seemingly useless garbage skills remained. The protagonist felt overwhelmed after seeing them. The only profession left was villager, and the skills were the weakest stick technique, along with things like health and walking that seemed utterly useless. Unable to bear it, the protagonist questioned the god. "Aren't there any powerful skills? With these, I won't even make it out of the starter village." The god was helpless. He couldn't be bothered to prepare new skills, so he gave the protagonist all the remaining skills. The protagonist wanted to refuse, but the god immediately sent him to another world. At first, the protagonist was in despair. How could he survive with these garbage skills? However, the villager set he carried with him left him astonished. Despite being the weakest profession, the attached bag could store items infinitely, and it contained various god-tier equipment left by the previous owner. Unfortunately, the protagonist had no idea of their value at the time, mistaking them for discarded items. Then, the protagonist put on the villager set and began checking his attributes. The average ability value for otherworld travelers was 50 points, but the protagonists had to be determined by dice rolls. This infuriated him, since 2 dice could only yield a maximum of 12 points. But to his surprise, the dice finally showed 2M. Not knowing what M meant, the protagonist allocated all his points to luck. When the attribute panel popped up, he instantly regretted it. It turned out M stood for maximum value. In that case, he should have added everything to attack and defense instead. Next, the protagonist began exploring the forest, and decided to build a base. After walking for a while, he noticed the visibility in the forest was poor. It would be terrible if he accidentally encountered monsters. Among the given skills, there seemed to be something called contact lenses. The protagonist tried putting them on. It turned out the skill wasn't garbage at all. It not only improved vision, but also allowed him to actively appraise whatever he saw. The protagonist suddenly felt the surroundings weren't so dangerous anymore. Then, he started searching for edible food and useful herbs, and finally, a place to survive.